Well, I don't make my work for you to interpret it. I make it for Black young people so that they can understand that we are at war, that we have to be strong-minded, that we have to be productive, that we have to be unafraid of expressing ourselves and getting what we want in society.
But isn't there a danger in telling young people, encourage them to be militant? Aren't you taking them down a track that can only lead to a cul-de-sac, and at the same time alienating a lot of people who really don't understand or accept or even grasp that militant language?
Well, what most people who know my work know is that I don't only teach young Blacks to be militant, I teach them to be intelligent, substantive, to make analysis. I think that America has to stop painting young Black people as being uncivilized and irrational, which is what they've done in the coverage of this story in Los Angeles. I think that we have to look at the fact that Black people didn't just run outside and burn out their houses because they were angry. The Beverly Center was wrecked, and that's in a white area. Korean businesses were targeted because that Korean woman shot and killed Natasha Hollins, and she was convicted of the crime, and she did not one day in jail. And we got 25% of our Black male population behind bars doing exorbitant sentences for small crimes, and we don't get justice. These are the reasons why people were attacked.
Describe, as you see it, the gap between those young people and the rest of society.
The gap between young people and the rest of society is that young people don't have hope. Jesse Jackson says, keep hope alive, but there is no hope because they look at the leadership, number one, and they say, okay, to get along in American society, you have to be a sellout. You have to put on a suit, talk like a white man, ask for what white people want, say what white people like to be successful. And young Black people don't see that as something that they want to strive for. We want to be able to be who we are, talk how we talk, walk how we walk, live how we want to live, and be producers and providers for our children in the future. We want to be African.
Didn't you want to go into politics once? You went to Washington and worked, didn't you?
I went to Washington and worked, but once I found out that there was no work going on in Washington, I decided that I didn't want to be part of that scenario.
What did you see? What do you mean no work going on?
What I saw was a lot of fake people, a lot of phony people. There are ways that I can intellectualize it, but I wouldn't even do that because I'm not trying to show you my skills. I'm trying to tell you the truth.
And where I cannot really say happy birthday hip hop in good conscience, I mean, and I have my reasons. I had to give it to a throwback, at least to my era, Sister Soldier. She was speaking the truth back then, and she's still speaking it now. I actually just heard an interview from her a couple days ago, and I'm going to go back and listen to that and listen to her then and then listen to her now, as I just took that clip from an interview probably about 25, 30 years ago, I guess. But I appreciate anybody that's going to check out this Villager on Deck stream. We are almost a week into the Montgomery Riverboat brawl situation, and it's starting to die down a little bit as far as all the memes and all of the folding chair propaganda. One thing that I hope does not die down is the camaraderie and the cohesiveness that this brought just for this one moment, because I think we need to be able to live in this moment without perpetuating it, because I'm not perpetuating anybody to go out and hit anybody with a folding chair or a bare-knuckled fist, for all that matters. But what it showed was in the time that we need our brethren the most, we can be there. And I think we need to spread that across all channels. Now, my reason for bringing this up today, because I keep seeing these posts, we are not our ancestors. We are not our ancestors. And there is a huge issue with this quote, with this phrase, because a lot of people assume that our ancestors were passive people. There's a lot of people out here who assume that our ancestors did not fight back. And that's just ignorance. That's just pure ignorance. And where I come in, I like to dispel those types of situations. And I'm going to dispel those types of situations always. I'm never going to be in a frame where I'm going to let someone speak that type of untruth to me without at least asking, what do you mean by we are not our ancestors? And when these posts come out and I see who's actually putting the post out, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm not even going to really get into this with this individual because I've seen they've been stuck on stupid for years. So where I'm at now is I'm trying to find my way to the people who really, really deserve my conversation. I've spoken to a lot of people recently, and some people just have not really deserved my conversation. So I'm scaling back not only on who I talk to and how I talk to people, but when situations like this comes up, the we are not our ancestors, I've got to throw the but in there because we aren't. We are not our ancestors. What we are is we are relics of our ancestors. And if you know the definition of the word relic, you'll understand that we are the remains of what our ancestors left behind. Now, what did our ancestors leave behind? Everybody's family is different. Everybody's lineage is different. But when we talk that we are not our ancestors, we cannot talk it as if our ancestors were beaten into an oblivion, murdered, raped, robbed, without any type of kickback, because there was a lot of fight in our ancestors. And what people don't talk about, it's because people don't know. So many people don't know. So many people will take our fight and put it in between a period of 1955 to 1970. And that's the craziest thing ever, because if that's what you're going to do, you're going to live and die in that era. And I have no problem with people thinking what they want to think. Just don't spout that madness to the masses. I'm one of those individuals that I'm always going to look from the other side. I'm always going to look from a contrarian spirit. Not because I'm trying to be oppositional, but because I know that there's generally another play. And where I might end up on that side with you, I might not start on that side with you because I'm trying to see where the whole play is. And I've had to learn why certain people are even opening their mouths out here. I'm not even sure why certain people are opening their mouths publicly. Everybody has a right to speak, whether there's freedom of speech. Everybody has the right to speak, but why some people say the things they say, it's beyond me. But they've been given a license to, because they can be amplified just at the push of a button. A lot of people have asked me why they can't find the Francis McMullen stream. And my answer is, I got my message across. There's no need for that message to stay up. And in all good consciousness, after having a short dialogue with Mrs. McMullen online, I didn't feel the need to have the stream air anymore. Once I said what I said and people heard what I heard, everybody had the opportunity to hear it live and hear it about 24 hours later on the playback. If you didn't catch it by then you weren't meant to catch it. You know, I've always told people, you better hit the bells, hit the notifications. If you really want to hear my messages, hit the notification. I've been doing this long enough to where I don't come up as frequently as most would like, as even I would like. But when I do come up, you should be alerted to it so you can get here. And if you don't get here, then you can always catch the playback. But see, on some streams like that, once my message is across, I don't need to, because this thing was never meant to run Francis McMullen into the ground. It was to shed light on a situation. And once I shed light on that situation, what else do I need to do? I don't need to do anything in any type of sinister way, be nefarious in any type of way. And anybody that wants to see the stream to hear what I said, just ask me what I said. You don't need to sit through the hour and a half that I put the people that watched it live, or maybe the people that watched the playback through. I'll tell you exactly what I said, why I said it, and maybe where I even got the information from. But the main thing is, that's not even the important thing. The important thing is that Ypsilanti now has to move forward. Ypsilanti now has to find a new city manager. Ypsilanti is in a space that they weren't in before. And the person who had their hand on the pulse of their finances is now gone. So somebody steps into that interim role. Will they become the permanent city manager? I don't know. Will they go out and seek out somebody from the outside? I don't know. None of that really matters to me right now. But I sure hope a whole bunch of folks don't go running down to the city council meetings demanding that a certain person become the city manager because they've worked for the city for a long time. You see how that worked out, right? It should not matter about tenure. It should definitely not matter solely about tenure. You should look into a person's background, foreground, sideground, before you just elevate people. But people like to be elevated just because. Not because of qualifications, because of popularity, notability. I get it. I understand. I see the politics being played around Washtenaw County, so I get why things are the way they are and why they're going to stay the way they're going to stay. But for me personally, I don't see that as the most functional way of doing things. I mean, I look at both city councils, whether it be Ann Arbor or Ypsilanti. Then I look at the Board of County Commissioners. You know, I look at our state reps, I look at our senators, and I see that they're all tied to something that is not quite right. And if they could all get tied to just the truth and stop being solely politicians and be for the people, then they wouldn't see me and hear from me as much. I'd be talking about other things, but since I can't, I'm going to stay on the city councils. I'm going to stay on the Board of Commissioners. I'm going to stay on the police departments. All of the politicians at large that are not doing the right things out here. That's what I'm going to do. That's why I'm here. I know other people are here for clout. I get it. I get why some people are here. They're here for clout. They're always going to be here for clout because they didn't have that. They didn't have any clout when they were younger. So now they got to get it in their elder years. I'm 53 years old. I've had all kinds of clout in my life. I've accomplished all types of things in my life. I've raised kids. Now I'm helping to raise grandkids. I've accomplished some things out here, but some people, they haven't accomplished enough, so they need to get clout. They need to be elevated by who they would call their peers. But I call them homers. Some of them are flunkies. Some of them are just built-in cheerleaders. Some people just have built-in cheerleaders. And that's one thing I don't want. I don't need you to like me. I've said many a times online, my family doesn't even watch my videos. They don't support my content, not because they don't like and agree what I say, but sometimes I say things that just is a little bit different from what they think. So I don't live in an echo chamber. I don't spout everything that I say online to my family because one, they don't understand it. Two, they don't understand me. And three, it does not matter. The message gets to who the message gets to. And if you look across the board I've literally watched people, with way bigger platforms on different levels talk about where they are with their family and their craft. But that was the same when I was on CBS radio. Nobody listened to me then. Hell, when I was just over on the radio station on Clark Road, nobody listened to me then. That didn't bother me because there were tons of other people who did. I don't get upset that people that I know, people that I talk to, people that I see on a regular basis don't watch my streams. I mean, that's some tender dick shit. If I got upset, I would never open this mic. If it mattered about who listened and how close they were in relation to me, I would never open the mic. But I open the mic because it's necessary. I've been going back and forth with educators all day, talking about the plight of our students. And we not only have talked about the plight of American Black students, we've talked about the plight of American Asian students. We've talked about the plight of American Latino students, of American Arabic students. There's a big problem in Washtenaw County, and there's actually a problem with American white students, American Jewish students, American German students. I mean, however you're gonna slice up the whiteness, you can do it all kinds of different ways. But let's just say American white to keep it concise, shall we? When you've got 1 out of 2 kids not reading adequately, not writing adequately, not counting adequately in the school district, and the school district isn't willing to do everything in their power to erase that type of detrimental stat, there's a problem. The county is in trouble academically. People are actually leaving the county or leaving the public school systems. Some people are trying to find ways to put their kids into private school, which is even more difficult than finding the right public school. Private school is obviously not cheap. And if you can manage a scholarship here and a grant there and that's, that, and the other, how many kids is that really going to work for? But yes, we are not our ancestors. And that's the problem. That's why I had to put the but there, because the but, after what came with the but, I wouldn't have been able to put, they would have just flagged my stream from the get-go. You can't put profanity in the stream, because that's what I was thinking. But yeah, we aren't. We aren't our motherfucking ancestors. That's the problem. Because if we had been our ancestors, Montgomery, Alabama would have never happened. It would have never, ever happened. That doesn't happen if we are a cohesive collective out here in America. That doesn't happen. And it shouldn't have to happen in a situation like that. But I'll take that situation if it's going to bridge us together. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. They think that might divide us even more. That's not going to divide us, because everybody is not in the frame of mind as those individuals who attacked that brother. And I really wanted to actually play this video early in the stream. There's only a couple of you in here, and it doesn't even matter at this point how many are in here, because this will be a stream that I will put up and probably slice and dice if I go a couple different directions that I think I'm going to go with it. Because, you know, I ain't over the bullshit yet. I'm still messing with the folding chairs. Don't get me wrong. I'm still messing with the folding chairs, you know. And if you're from Ann Arbor, if you're from A Square, I got your back still. We got the bougie chair. You know, we got the bougie chair over here in Ann Arbor, you know. But what it all boiled down to was the creation of the great Nathaniel Alexander. And although I was not able to find a functional and factual picture of Brother Alexander, I do have his work. I do have his patent number. We can indeed say that he was the inventor of the mobile folding chair. But let me find this all access media, I believe it's called. Let me find this real quick. Give me one quick second, because this lady, this sister really said it all. She really said it all. And I was happy that she was able to speak the way she was able to speak, because I saw her clip cut up so many different times, but I got her whole clip. And it is All Viral Access Media. So shout out to All Viral Access Media. And, you know, hopefully they understand that I'm using their clip with fair use in mind. This is absolutely to educate some people. And it's to entertain others. Some people might not learn a thing of it, but they might be entertained by it. But I want to speak to the sister who spoke about the brother who was actually attacked initially. And then she just went on. So, you know, it was a beautiful thing to hear her speak about the brother. So let me actually get this up here. Oh, let me go ahead and cut the music real quick. Pause that right there. But yeah, shout out to All Viral Access Media. I want to play this clip real quick.
I told you to move your boat, and then all these people they got to see these white folk put their hands on Damon Dane. Man, that was uncalled for. You don't put your hands on nobody. You should have moved that boat when that boy told you to move your boat. And then all these people jumping on him, all these black folks sitting up there, y'all sitting up there watching him get beat instead of coming down there and helping your brother. And I said, he fell, man. That would really scare me because I lost a son. I lost a grandson. I know how to feel to lose a child. And I was glad that they didn't take his life. And this lady on this riverboat, she didn't give a damn. All she was caring about her job, my job. I run this boat. I don't give a damn about you run this boat. Think about other folks' life. You worry about this boat. You ain't worry about how we died a day or tomorrow. You ain't called nobody. You ain't called 9 person and ask them if they're dead or alive. Y'all thinking about is making money and having stuff for y'allself. Long as you can do for other folks, they don't care about you. They don't care what you go through. Long as you can do whatever you do for anybody. Long as you do things for people, they don't care. But when you decide to want to do something for yourself, that's when everybody gets mad. But I don't care about me throwing that lady in the river. I don't give a damn. They talking about the police, hey, come and get me. Come and get me. The police look for me. They ain't looking too hard because I'm here. I don't care about her throwing them. They ain't had no business putting their hands on Damon Dane. You put your hands on the wrong person, child, somebody who we know, who grew up. His mama know my mama. I know her children. This boy raised my son. Then y'all gonna put y'all hands on him in front of us? No, baby, that wasn't gonna go down like that. Y'all must thought that was gonna go down like that. We don't care where you from. That's why all of us on that river, we stuck together. Because we said when that boat hit that dock, we gonna go beat the hell out of them. You thought we were playing with y'all after you put your hands on him? You ain't got no business putting your hands on him. You should have moved that boat when he told you to move. Move that boat. That I don't even work on that boat that long. Never got a check from this lady. And this lady fired me the same day. Come on, I put my hands on this lady. You ain't say nothing when them folks were putting their hands on Damon Dane. You didn't even come out there and ask her if we dead or not. You come out there and talk about you fire. Okay, fire me. I don't been fired for plenty of jobs, lady. I don't care about no job. God got me wherever he want me. Whatever God got for me, it's gonna be for me. Can't nobody do nothing to me. I don't been with this. I don't been going through hell that whole week. The devil been on me all that week. I just had so much frustration on me. So that lady, she just got what she deserved. And when I throw her in the river, like every weight came out of me. I ain't been let nobody I know get hurt. I ain't not in front of me. I don't care who I'm mad with. I don't care I'm mad with you. But if I know you from the coat, Tulane coat, it ain't gonna be nothing like that. You ain't going down like that. We're gonna stick together. We might argue and fuck, but when we come from the coat, we're gonna stick together. And you ain't had no business putting your hands on Damon Dane. Y'all come way up on Selma down here, talking about some Trump. Damn Trump. Trump run that thing up there in Washington, D.C. But see, Trump got y'all beat down in Montgomery. Come down here in Montgomery playing with us, baby. Come down here in Tulane Coat playing with the right one. You play with the right one from the coat, from the project, with throw hands at y'all. Y'all thought this stuff gonna end. Y'all gonna win, but baby, we gonna win. Y'all play with my ancestors like that. The slave. I ain't no slave. You ain't gonna come toward me to my washing your clothes, washing your children. Baby, I ain't watching nothing. Y'all redneck came down here. You came for this smoke, and you got this smoke, and you gonna keep getting this smoke. I don't care, Miss Liz. I don't care if she's mad or nothing. I don't give a damn. I'll do it again. You put your hand on Damon Dane, I'm gonna come back for you again. I don't care about these white folk on that boat. Come on, y'all putting y'all hands on them. Y'all didn't say nothing. Put their hands on Damon Dane. Y'all didn't care about him. You ain't even ask nothing about him. You worrying about your boat and your job, baby. You gonna always get a job. One thing about God, he always gonna prepare for you. He always gonna give you what you want and what you need. God ain't did nothing but show me what was going on. That's all God did. He showed me the whole week. The whole week, I was stressed out that whole week. But I ain't never went on that boat fussing or arguing with none of my co-workers about what my life was going through. I always came on that boat humble, good. Everybody loved me on that boat because I just was the hostess. I just bring them in. And everybody loved me. I love you, dang. I'm glad you safe. I'm glad that little boy safe. I'm glad the man, I don't even know who the man is with the chair. I just want to know his name to thank him. Be on that riverboat that day.
Well, she more than said a mouthful. She absolutely more than said a mouthful. And that's the way we have to be spiritually. It can't be a fight every time we want to draw some cohesiveness. We have to be able to band together on so many different levels. So when people talk that shit, we are not our ancestors. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the real problem. We are not our ancestors. Our ancestors were fighters. Our ancestors were warriors. And see, some people only talk about the time that we've been here on this soil. You know, I don't talk a lot about the continent. I don't talk about the continent a lot. And the reason I don't, because of so many things that get said about the continent over here, or people that come over here and the way they talk about us, there is a separation, there is a divide. You don't hear me talking about the diaspora a lot. But before we were brought over here from whatever space we were brought from, or the people that were here were marginalized on this soil, we were warriors. We were educated people. We were resourceful people. So when people talk that we are not our ancestors, they looking at it from a lens that they've only been taught maybe in school. And like I said, 1955 to about 1970, you know, people think that our ancestors are the people that only got hit with fire hoses, or had German shepherds sicked on them, or had their houses burned down, or crosses burned in their lawn. No. Those might have been the last couple generations of our ancestors, but what about before? We wouldn't have survived the most detrimental period in captivity if we weren't fighters. They would have been able to extinguish us with the institution of slavery, and they were not. We were able to multiply from the institution of slavery. So I don't let our whole history as a people be during that period of the first recognized slave ship, which is 1619, and then you got the abolition in 1865. No, that is a period in time. That is the most detrimental period in time in Earth history. But we were way more before that. We were great to be able to still exist and maneuver and manifest from that period. But before 1619, what were we? We were fighters. We were warriors. We were people who were resilient enough to have another faction of people need us to come build this shit that's now called the United States. So don't tell me that our ancestors weren't shit, that our ancestors didn't do nothing, because you wouldn't be here if your ancestors didn't do anything. Did you sit there, cuz? Just simply come together. We don't have to be fighting to get things accomplished, but if it comes down to that, so be absolutely. But we argue about names. We argue about monikers. What do you want to be called? What do you want to be called? Or what you gonna do? What you gonna do? When some things are just very, very simple. Are we together or not? Are we on the same side or not? That should be a real simple question. That's a real simple ask. But some people aren't with that. And there are certain people that you just don't deal with because you know they're not on your side. They may look just like you. They're not on your side. They're on that other side. They're always going to be on that other side. So asking them to come on this side is crazy. You're not going to get no act right on them. There's going to be tools for the system everywhere. Always. But in talking to these educators and understanding really how our school systems locally are not only losing students, we're losing families in the community, and there's just nothing being done about it. To find out that there's actual educational vessels that have been put in place that have been turned away by a school system where 1 out of 2 kids is not reading, writing, and counting adequately. That's an issue. How can you say no to anything, any type of help? And if it's proving that it's beneficial in other places, why would you turn it down in your place? That's selfishness. That means you're not looking out for the kids. You're looking at politics. And I see more educators looking at politics than looking at education. Just like they want to make this sheriff race coming up next year. It's about politics. It's about popularity. It's not about policing. If it was about policing, 2 of the candidates wouldn't even be running. If it's about management, executive experience, 2 of the candidates wouldn't even be running. But they want to make it about popularity before they make it about policing. We just watched a slow speed chase through the far west side of Ann Arbor off into Dexter. And from what we saw, it was a Caucasian individual that they pulled out of that vehicle, possibly even a female. I don't know if it was or not. The shirt might have just been rolled up around their chest, like that sports bra thing that Kyler Murray's wearing in that post I had. I know it's not a sports bra, but it looked like a sports bra. But we really couldn't tell what it was that they had on the ground. But it definitely looked like it was a Caucasian individual that rolled a Kia Soul all the way down 94 and through the far west side of Ann Arbor all the way into Dexter. I don't know what the problem was. I don't know why they didn't just stop. Looks like they were the only person in the vehicle. I'm not sure exactly what was going on there, and don't care. But you gotta understand. There was 2 things I was hoping that didn't happen. Didn't have to be any gunplay between them and the police. And man, I was really hoping they wasn't black. I ain't gonna lie. I sat there the whole time, be like, oh man, please don't be black. Please don't be black. Some of y'all probably gonna say I shouldn't think like that. All lives matter. No, Black Lives Matter. That's why y'all made that moniker, right? I'm gonna use y'all moniker right now. Black Lives Matter. So I was really hoping that black man or black woman or even a black child, a youngin', didn't come out that damn car. That's what I had in my mind. In my mind. But where I am now, what I'm looking at now is more and more people saying we are not our ancestors. And it's solely with the belief that our ancestors were passive. That's some of the dumbest shit ever. We are not our ancestors. We ain't our ancestors, man. We ain't our ancestors. Yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. And I've said it before. We are not our ancestors. When I've looked at things, we are definitely not our ancestors. I've said it before, but I know where my belief stands at. And it's unfortunate that people's ignorance and their lack of education in school has made them believe that the people that came before us were a passive people. We're not fighters. We're not warriors. We're not educated. That's an unfortunate situation. That is truly an unfortunate situation. But, as we continue to work past, the whole Alabama. Did I say Mississippi earlier? Hopefully I didn't say Mississippi. Alabama riverboat brawl. We worked past the Montgomery riverboat brawl. We have to be reminded of things that have happened. And I'm just using this collage because I didn't feel like making a new collage. I didn't think I needed to. And I'm sticking to my guns on this because, like I said, if we were our ancestors, it would have never happened in the first place. There wouldn't have been a thought in anybody's head, because now there's audio. Some of these people's videos have audio. And I haven't captured a good enough one, but they've interviewed people and they said, oh yeah, they was out there calling the brother nigger before they did their thing. And I was like, don't nobody move in silence like that. I'm sure he was all kind of niggas before, the brothers showed up. And there's people that have said, oh yeah, we heard him calling him a nigger. We heard this, we heard that. Absolutely. There's always going to be a soundtrack, y'all. They're not going to come silently. It's like ain't no Charlie Chaplin movie and shit. There definitely was some audio. We just didn't see it. We just didn't catch it. But the fact that we're in a specific situation like this in 2023 absolutely shows we are not our ancestors. That's a problem. That is the whole problem. We are not our ancestors. Free, your button's sticking. You done put the same thing up there 3 times. That's an issue that we have to deal with internally. Nobody can make us turn that situation around. The vessel that we're on individually, because I don't think it's a collective vessel, but there's enough individuals that make up a big part of this situation, absolutely, that believe we are not our ancestors. We something different. In many ways we are, in many ways we aren't. We've allowed the lack of education to rule us, to literally rule us. And now we're spitting that out ignorantly. We are not our ancestors. Yeah, you're right. If we were, we'd have more dignity. We'd have more pride. And they would have never approached us on that riverboat dock. And when I say us, I wasn't down there. I didn't have family that was down there. But I'm saying us as a collective. They have to know it's not okay. It's never going to be okay. I was wondering, I was like, how's she up here stuttering on the post? Appreciate you, Free. Freeway Dread, what's good with you, brother? Just spitting on some of this ignorance out here, Freeway. We in a situation where people are talking this, we are not our ancestors, and they're talking it ignorantly. And they need to be talking in a whole different way. Yes, I have no problem with you saying we are not our ancestors. But how about us saying we are not our ancestors, but in the spirit of our ancestors, we will come together. We will galvanize. And it doesn't have to necessarily be through fisticuffs, because that ain't going to get nowhere. That ain't going to get us nowhere. So I got a drop from Freeway. Freeway, you remember this?
I agree with that.
I had to get that drop on Freeway. I agree with that. He said, I concur today. Appreciate you. But yeah, the people that are out here and they're understanding where we are, they hate that phrase just as much as I do. They're just publicly not going to say much, but they're not supposed to, because that's not what they do. That's what I do. I have no problem with bucking this phrase, we are not our ancestors. You goddamn right, we're not. That's the problem. That's really the problem. What'd you say there, brother? If we're not them, then how in the hell did we get here, alive and living? Period. Point blank, period. If our ancestors weren't so resilient, our asses wouldn't be here. So when somebody says we are not our ancestors, I'm like, first and foremost, I know you stupid. So I've got to really kind of gather myself so I don't say something as stupid as they just said. And my question is, well, what do you mean by that? That's where I'm coming at it now. What do you mean by it? When you say that, what do you mean by that? Because I want to know if the second thing is going to come out of your mouth is going to be ignorant, or if you are on the real shit. Because if I say we are not our ancestors, I'm saying it in a way where, yes, we have fractionalized, where our ancestors were galvanized. We bought into the propaganda. Black people are not a monolith. We just ought to be. We just ought to be. I know, of course, we are all different. We are not the same people. I hate having this argument with people. But hey, white supremacy is monolithic. Hell, tools of white supremacy are monolithic. So when we say that, that means we've bought into it. We've bought into it. They can pit white and black against each other. They can pit that. And as long as we over here fighting, then they running away with everything else. We get caught up in the black-white fight, then everybody else makes off with all the resources. It's crazy to believe how little we know and how much we say. And we're not going to be able to just live here. We can't live here. What you say, cuz? We are not our ancestors. We will not have survived what they were subjected to all those years. We as black rays wouldn't exist. It was left up to us. Our ancestors moved together and in sync and together. It's very, very difficult. You got small pockets of people who put themselves aside and are for the collective. Small amounts of people, very small amounts of people. In the grand scheme of things, about 40 million of us. It's about 40 million of us. Do we have 1 million people that are truly galvanized? And I'm speaking of 1 million adults, because if you've got 1 million adults, we know the kids are coming because they are kids. But do we have 1 million American freedmen in this country that are galvanized, ready to put work in to take us to the next level? 1 million people. We got 40 million on deck. But do we have 1 million of us? Do we have 1 million of us? I've often wondered, do we even have 1 million people across this land just ready to put in collective work? So maybe, knowing that we are not our ancestors, we at least have 1/40th. 1/40th of the people working in the same direction. Thanks, Free. I don't know, man. I don't see it. I don't see it happening right now, just with all of the division. It's very difficult for me to see. Our forefathers and mothers are better than us in a number of different ways. Where is our reverence collectively? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why organized religion can't get me anymore. Can't have me in a space where I was at. Because back in the day, like it or not, the church house was a place for us to be able to galvanize as a people. Excuse me. Had a belch there and didn't want to let it out on air. I tried to hold it back in and it still bubbled up in there. The church house was a place where we could actually galvanize as a people. And things happened in the church house politically. And people worked together in the church house. And people that were in business or doing business and could help people within the collective, they were put in play. Now it's not like that. Because most of these churches are literally just led by a man and or a woman who are more about themselves than they are about the parishioners. So there's absolutely no reverence given to even church leaders anymore because they're not the leaders that they once were. And there's definitely no respect given to the church fellowship, the parishioners, maybe because their dedication is not the same. But if you ain't bringing the same message, you can't demand the same type of dedication. You know? That might have been the old church house. This might be just the new church house. Because a lot of these churches, it's really what it's about now. These prosperity pimps out here are even on a low level. They ain't got to have 20,000 members to be considered a prosperity pimp. You can have 200. You can have 200 members active and still be getting the bag out here. We are not coming together as one. It's just not happening. Unfortunately, everyone is not coming, but we have to keep moving. Absolutely. There's definitely no giving up. If we give up, we sink. We in the middle of it now. We in the middle of it now. We're in the middle of a body of water, theoretically. And if we don't keep kicking our legs, we just gonna sink. But what happens when you have the ability to throw somebody a raft, life preserver? Do you throw it or do you wait because you're not really sure? You don't know if you might need it later. I mean, you see somebody who might sink right now. Don't you take the chance of catch that sinking person right now? Because if you save them now, when somebody else comes along, maybe they'll be the one that can help save them. Maybe it won't be you next time. And I don't always want to speak from a downtrodden space. What about in the ways of opulence? When you doing big business out here, why wouldn't you want to do big business and help your collective? Nah, let me go ahead and rub this in your face. Let me show you that I'm a boss. I'm a boss. And then the next thing you know, they're not a boss. And then what? And then what? You got to understand, if you don't do the right thing,
your ass is next.
Absolutely. The Montgomery Riverboat was a signal. It was indeed a signal. It's got to happen this generation. You see what's coming underneath us, Free. We talk about it a lot. We see what we spawned. We see what's been spawned, the generation. We've had to fight for everything. And not as much as our parents fought, as not as much as their parents fought. But do we have these next generations coming up underneath us? Are they prepared to fight? Are they really prepared to fight? I don't know. I don't get why you don't set your children up to make them understand our history is deep, way deeper than 1955 to 1970. And I'm not here to say anything bad or to minimize the heart of the civil rights movement. But did the civil rights movement start in 1955-ish? Or did the civil rights movement start when we became a marginalized people and we literally had to fight to stay alive? We had to fight for people to be civil to us well before it became a right. It's always really been a right. So when people say, well, you know, slavery was legal. Yeah, okay. Those are people that you don't talk to. Those are conversations you cut down. You cut those conversations down. If you ever get into a conversation where people start talking about, well, you know, slavery was legal at one time, stop talking to that individual. If they let that come out of their mouth, stop talking. Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, I really can't give up the happy birthday to hip hop today. I'm in my feelings about that whole situation from so many angles. The fact that they actually gave it a birth date, the fact that they actually gave hip hop a birth date, I don't feel like hip hop was born. I feel like hip hop germinated out of R&B and soul and blues and all the musical forms that came before it. That's where hip hop came from. It wasn't just born. I mean, it was a new music genre that was created, absolutely. But now that they've put a date on it, now they can make a hip hop national holiday. Another federal holiday for people that don't deserve to be off that day. I doubt if they ever make a national hip hop holiday a day that, you know, it's federally recognized. But even if they do it in a symbolic fashion where it's not really recognized as an off day for government workers or whatever, I don't believe that hip hop was born. I believe it germinated from something that was greater. And R&B and soul and blues and everything around it. We have to, Free. We got to avoid all them clowns altogether. Tony D, what's good with you? I'm not in a space where I'm angry about it, but it's just another symbolic measure. It's just another symbolic measure that will help move our needle how much? They're not coming out with the Russell Simmons $20 bill, right? Or you know, the Cool Herc $20 bill or whoever. They're not going to come out with, you know, it's not going to change the needle at all. Joe Biden's been in office, almost 3 years. Y'all ain't got the Harriet Tubman $20 bill. Donald Trump said it would never happen on his watch. But how come it ain't happened on Joe Biden's watch? Where is that Harriet Tubman $20 bill? I told y'all back then that that was symbolism. Oh, no, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. You know, they did the stamp, and then they did this, and they're going to do a $20 bill. I can't wait for them to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Can't wait. It'll probably be right before they introduce the cashless society. They'll put it in play and then take it out of print. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, Russia's got his own Rush card. Why not put him on the $20 bill? Put Russell Simmons on the $20 bill in a yoga stance. We are not our ancestors. There's some dumbass people out here talking that shit. But they're not going to do it on my watch. They're not going to do it on my watch. Y'all can do anything, but just don't talk that mess to me. And I appreciate it. I'd be happy. Miss me with that bullshit. Or
your ass is next.
So as we approach an hour, I really didn't want to go too deep into this, but I made it almost up to 60 minutes. So for the people who didn't see the image from before, I might as well play it again and close out the stream. Because this sister, you know, the crazy thing was, it took me like 3-4 times to realize she said she threw somebody in the water. If you listen real close, she literally says she threw a woman in the water. And she works on the boat. So they got a trifecta here. Strong sister, an employee on the riverboat, and threw somebody in the water. So I think we just need to go ahead and listen to it again. And let me get this up going again. Hold on one second. I thought it was great. I literally thought it was great. Hold on one second. And then I'm going to close out after that. Shout out to All Viral Access.
I told you to move your boat. And then all these people say that to see these white folk put their hands on Damon Dang, man, that was uncalled for. You don't put your hands on nobody. You should have moved that boat when that boy told you to move your boat. And then all these people jumping on him, all these black folks sitting up there, y'all sitting up there watching him get beat instead of coming down there and helping your brother. And I said, he failed, man. That would really scare me because I lost a son. I lost a grandson. I know how to feel to lose a child. And I was glad that they didn't take his life. And this lady on this riverboat, she didn't give a damn. All she was caring about her job, my job. I run this boat. I don't give a damn about you running this boat. Think about other folks' life. You worry about this boat. You ain't worrying about how we died a day or tomorrow. You ain't called nobody. You ain't called nine person and ask them if they're dead or alive. Y'all thinking about is making money, having stuff for y'allself. Long as you can do for other folks, they don't care about you. They don't care what you go through. Long as you can do whatever you do for anybody. Long as you do things for people, they don't care. But when you decide to want to do something for yourself, that's when everybody gets mad. But I don't care about me throwing that lady in the river. I don't give a damn.
See?
The police, come and get me. Come and get me. The police look for me. They ain't looking too hard because I'm here. I don't care about her throwing her down. They ain't had no business putting their hands on Damon Dang. You put your hands on the wrong person, child, somebody who we know, who grew up. His mama know my mama. I know her children. This boy raised my son. Then y'all gonna put y'all hands on him in front of us? No, baby, that wasn't gonna go down like that. Y'all must thought that was gonna go down like that. We don't care where you from. That's why all of us on that river, we stuck together. Because we said when that boat hit that dock, we gonna go beat the hell out of them. You thought we were playing with y'all? After you put your hands on him, you ain't got no business putting your hands on him. You should have moved that boat when he told you to move. Move that boat. That I don't even work on that boat that long. Never got a check from this lady. And this lady fired me the same day. Come I put my hands on this lady. You didn't say that when them folks were putting their hands on Damon Dane. You didn't even come out there and ask her if we dead or not. You come out there and talk about you fire. Okay, fire me. I don't been fired for plenty of job. I don't care about no job. God got me wherever he want me. Whatever God got for me, it's gonna be for me. Can't nobody do nothing to me. I don't been with it. I don't been going through hell that whole week. The devil been on me all that week. I just had so much frustration on me. So that lady, she just got what she deserved. And when I throw her in the river, like every weight came out for me. I ain't been let nobody I know get hurt. I ain't not in front of me. I don't care who I'm mad with. I don't care I'm mad with you. But if I know you from the coast, you ain't coast. It ain't gonna be nothing like that. You ain't going down like that. We're gonna stick together. We might argue and fuck, but when we come from the coast, we're gonna stick together. And you ain't had no business putting your hands on Damn Dang. Y'all come way up on Selma down here talking about some Trump. Damn Trump. Trump run that thing up there in Washington, D.C. But see, Trump got y'all beat down in Montgomery. Come down here in Montgomery playing with us, baby. Come down here in Tulane Coast playing with the right one. You play with the right one from the coast, from the project, with throw hands at y'all. Y'all thought this stuff gonna end. Y'all gonna win, but baby, we gonna win. Y'all play with my ancestors like that. The slave. I ain't no slave. You ain't gonna come toward me to my washing your clothes, washing your children. Baby, I ain't watching nothing. Y'all redneck came down here. You came for this smoke, and you got this smoke, and you gonna keep getting this smoke. I don't care, Miss Liz. I don't care if she's mad or nothing. I don't give a damn. I'll do it again. You put your hand on Damon Dane, I'm gonna come back for you again. I don't care about these white folk on that boat. Y'all putting y'all hands on them. Y'all didn't say nothing. Put their hands on Damon Dane. Y'all didn't care about him. You ain't even asked nothing about him. You worrying about your boat and your job, baby. You gonna always get a job. One thing about God, he always gonna prepare for you. He always gonna give you what you want and what you need. God ain't did nothing but show me what was going on. That's all God did. He showed me the whole week. The whole week, I was stressed out that whole week. But I ain't never went on that boat fussing or arguing with none of my co-workers about what my life was going through. I always came on that boat humble, good. Everybody loved me on that boat because I just was the host. I just bring them in. And everybody loved me. I love you, Dang Dang. I'm glad you safe. I'm glad that little boy safe. I'm glad the man, I don't even know who the man is with the chair. I just want to know his name and thank him. Be on that riverboat that day.
Real shit, man. Real shit. So when you I need to get that off. All right. So yeah, she told it like it was. She told it like it was. And I appreciate her honesty, her unapologetic fare, you know, and the way she spoke. That's the way we need to speak. And like I said, it doesn't always have to come from a volatile end. We've got to be able to take those words and put them into the proper perspective at the proper times and places. She just came from a collective spirit, that's all. But she was riled up right then. And she letting you know she'd do it again. She'd do it again. So we have to have that spirit that we're going to be here for our brethren. We'll have to do this again if we've got to do this again. But let's not. Let's move forward and do other things. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But for the folks who don't really understand and they want to talk, you know, all this violence and this, that, and the other, we got these celebrities out here talking mess. I haven't even listened to the whole situation about Marlon Wayans. I guess he said it was ignorant and all kinds of stuff, and somebody else said something. I don't really be listening to these clowns unless they in their roles. When they start talking about political stuff or collective uplift and things like that, I don't listen to them because they're just not there. They're just not there. And when you got somebody like Marlon Wayans, who grew up in a house of what, 15, something like that? I mean, there's about 15 Wayans. But you want to talk about, oh, that was ignorant for them people to not allow somebody to beat on a black man, one black man. See, it wasn't even a one-on-one fight. They jumped him. a gang of wild savages jumped him. He threw his hat up in the air, and that signal created their detriment. And none of them died, so that was a good thing, because none of them needed to die. They just needed a good, crisp one. They just needed that behind the shed one. That's all they needed. Didn't nobody need to die. Damon Dane didn't die. And I heard he's like the assistant captain of the boat. He ain't no security guard. That man got stripes. He's got stripes. He's the assistant captain of the boat. She was a new employee of the boat. She said, fuck that job. She can find another job. So when people talk that shit about we are not our ancestors, David Dane's our ancestor, like our ancestor, and that sister there is like our ancestor. Why aren't you like our ancestor? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about maybe why you're not like our ancestor? Because that's a problem. That's a big problem. And we need to be more like our ancestors. Or else.
Your ass is next.
You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us
One love.
that it's manly to keep your word.
Be good,
right?
y'all.
If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a bird, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.
can kill all the black folks you want to, baby, but you will not kill the freedom of black folks. It's coming. We're going to get it. We fought every one of your damn lousy wars, baby, and you give us nothing. Now, the war is going to be here, but we're going to be free. Now, you kill you want to, but we kill too.
You know, this revolution is filled with